Alrighty, what is going on, Casually FC? Welcome to the Casually Chelsea show. I am accompanied by USA Surfer over here, Ahmed, Real Chris, and Scott. And man, you know what's fucking really just, I guess, coincidental about all this stuff, or kind of ironic. We do a weekly recap show, and then literally the day of or after we do the stream, just bombshells of information just drop and we have to wait a whole week to talk about it. But we'll just start things off with the Freund saga. But before we go ahead and get started on talking about that, guys, as always, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, share the channel if you want, share the stream. You can donate via the super chat. Check out the links in the description, as well as leave a comment down below if you're watching this in the future. I know some of you do like to watch this after the fact and not be here for the live stream, which is totally cool. And we do engage with those comments as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and start talking about this. Literally, we were pretty much 1 foot in the door. I thought this was going to happen. Fabrizio basically announcing it's going to happen and that it's pretty much confirmed. And then the very next day, we find out that it all fell through. And Freund does a complete 180. Well, not Freund, but Salzburg. So for those who do not know what happened, the long and short of it is essentially that Freund agreed personal terms to come to Chelsea. He was all on board for it, but in reality, it was kind of just up to Salzburg whether or not they were ready to let him go to do another project, and they weren't. So they turned back around and said, "No, we changed our mind, or we're not going to commit to this. We're gonna, stick to Freund because we want to stick with him." So. Yeah, that kind of sucks. I'm sure it's annoying. We saw what happened throughout the transfer window when we kind of just had our news out there, and in the open, people just seeing how we were failing these deals, which I guess I get the frustrations of fans coming out. Like, can we just stop talking so openly about these things and just, when it's done, get it done? Which, in a sense, you can say, well, that's one of the good things about the Roman regime. That things were done under the table and we weren't really so open about our business. But you win some, you lose some. And it's unfortunate that this happened. I was actually excited to have him as a DOF, but it's not to say that we're not going to have a good DOF in the future, but we will just see where it goes. So, guys, what do we think about this whole DOF saga? Are we disappointed? Are we optimistic? Ahmed, go ahead, brother.
So I think from what I'm understanding, at least from Fabrizio's side, he was saying that Freund and Chelsea already had a contract agreement in the agreed contract. So it was basically about Chelsea and RB, the RB group basically agreeing some sort of buyout for him to come to the club. And I don't think the club basically wanted to pay the full amount. If that makes sense. And that's what I think has happened. Obviously, it's a shame that we've lost him, but again, there are still a lot of good CVs out there. I know apparently now we're speaking to the guy from Monaco, whose name passes my head right now.
Paul Mitchell.
Campos. No, I'm sorry.
Paul Mitchell.
Wrong.
Paul Mitchell.
Yeah.
Paul Mitchell. The Leipzig DOF as well is another one I'm probably speaking with, and maybe there's probably another 2 or 3 that we're also speaking with as well. But hopefully we'll get this situation sorted out pretty soon, because if it is true that we're rumored to be trying to buy players in January, it would be helpful to have a DF by that time period, by at least October or November-ish, who can at least have some sort of discussions with the manager and then the ownership to try to bring in some new players that we do need. So hopefully it happens sooner rather than later.
And it's unfortunate too, because this is a comment that Freund had said, yes, it's true. Chelsea wanted me, and we had talks. I was thinking about Chelsea director job, as I've been proud of the interests of such a top club. And Reuter, I guess who. I don't know who Reuter is. I guess he's just something to do with Salzburg.
He's the head of Salzburg.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So him coming out and saying that Freund informed him of Chelsea, but at the end he decided he wanted Freund to stay at Salzburg, which, like Ahmed had hinted to, I think we do need to get this done ASAP, especially if we're going to be backing Potter and his project and what he's going to be doing to the club and what he may need in January. Chris or Scott, whichever one of you guys have any opinions on this, floor is yours.
I want to know, is it like officially like fully over? Like then, like we can't work like any deal with Salzburg, or is it just
I'm pretty sure it's done. Like if the owner's coming out saying no, he's going to stay with us, then that is what it is.
Yeah. I really
Ahmed
want
had pointed to, he has a contract and he has to fulfill the contract.
Yeah. Like no, you can't like unless he pays it out. Like he can pay out the contract, but he's probably not going to do that. Probably too much money. Like I really want him to stay because, like you said, he's made great signings for him and all that, like getting great players in and then selling them on, obviously, because they're not a big club. But I thought he'd be in the right like direction for us to get in. But you know what? I think we just got to move on and just look for another one, the Leipzig one maybe, or somewhere else, like someone else. Yeah.
Oh, Leipzig declined us, by the way.
They declined us as well. We can't catch a break.
They're part of the same RB group.
Hey, you know what? If we can't get Leipzig, we just bring back Marina. Like, bring her back for another year or two. No, I know you're saying no.
It's the RB group, isn't it?
I don't mind Marina, but like, I say bring her back. I know you're saying Marina.
Are you saying Marina or Mourinho?
Yeah, Marina.
Okay, I heard Mourinho.
Hey, and bring back Petr Cech.
No. Oh my god! Listen, let's relax, man.
I actually liked him, but
no, Cech's fine, but Marina, let's say
okay.
I wanted to ask you guys, like, are you guys of the belief that because Chris just brought up the signings that he had, Freund had under his time in Leipzig, and are you guys under the belief that, I know some fans, and you know what, I'm going to direct this question at Scott so he gets a chance to discuss, but are you under the impression that these are not like the quality Chelsea level types of signings that really interest you? What are your opinions on just Freund in general and what he's done at Salzburg? Are you impressed by that, or are you of the fan base that it's not really impressive to you? They're not, like, other than Haaland and Mane, I believe, right? The other ones don't really impress you that much.
No, I'm of the opinion that like they're great signings because like these are the sort of signings I kind of want us to make. Like I don't know the full list, but like you just go through some of the players that either him personally or the team that he's been part of, because one thing that people forget is he's learned under arguably the greatest DOF in history in REDNECK. Learned under him personally. He was his assistant when REDNECK was DOF, or I don't know if that was his actual title or when he was at Salzburg. You look at some of the players. Haaland is now playing for City, will probably be playing for Madrid in a couple of years' time. You look at Konrad Laimer, who was wanted very heavily by Bayern Munich this summer. You look at Mukiele, who's now playing at Paris Saint-Germain after having a brilliant season last season at Leipzig. You've got Sadio Mane now playing for Bayern Munich after winning league titles, or a league title in the Champions League for Liverpool. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head. You've got players like Upamecano who came up who were very good. Obviously, he's kind of stagnated since, but you've got players like him. You've got players like Adeyemi, who's came through now playing for Dortmund. You've got players like Hwang Hee-chan playing for Wolves now doing very well. Like even on the lower end of the scale of some of the players they've brought in.
That's one of Freund's signings or discoveries, we'll call it.
Who?
The Hang. What's
the
guy?
Hwang. Yeah, he was at Minamino as well as another one. Yeah, he was there. Same time Haaland.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've signed a few players, but these are the type of players I want to sign. Like in terms of you sign players that are going to go under the radar, and they might not be world beaters from day one, but in a year or two's time, yeah, cool. Now we're starting to see that they're good players. And the thing is, it's like they don't need to be world class, every single one of them. Like if you go back and look at some of the teams that have won the league, or like just Chelsea teams that have won the league, we didn't have world class players in every position. In some areas, we had I would say a Belletti wasn't world class, but he was still, serviceable. He was still good. Like, you look at central defence at times, like, I wouldn't say Gary Cahill was world class, but he was very good. Like,
I
it's the
think
same for other positions. Like, Anelka, I wouldn't say was world class, but was very, very good.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to go and sign the very elite, the best of the best. You can go the tier under and it still works.
I think though that any DOF has got a different mandate here, whereas like the RB Salzburg, they know when they're going to find players, if they're going to be good, that they always know they're going to be sold on. Do you know what I mean? That's how their model is: find them, sell them on.
And
this one is going to be a little different. We want players that are going to step up into our first team and stay here for a very long time. If they're going to go for big prices, yeah, massive, huge prices, like hundreds of millions of pounds. But with DOF here, is going to have to somehow look for bargains or look for gems under the radar, but obviously work with the manager in tandem, Potter, for players that that he wants that are going to be ready. They're going to be ready, either ready right now or ready in a year or two to step into that first team, like and stay there, be a rock, be a mainstay in that defense, midfield, up front, goalkeeper, whatever. But that's what the different mandate is, I think, for us than it is for like anyone else coming in, which might make their job a bit tougher. But they might think, okay, well, I'm not having to buy people in so I can raise money and to get other people in. It's like the Dortmund DOF buys players knowing in 2-3 years time if they're good, they're going to be sold. I don't think that's going to be the case here at Chelsea at all.
I think it's something that we need to understand. I would also argue is what is a Chelsea player as of right now for our club, right? It's not just that we want to sign just world class talent. That's great. Like, yes, of course we want to buy world class players, but at the same time we need to understand it isn't just world class players that we just need. Like, sometimes we need to allow some sort of development also within the squad of guys that are just a step below who can become world class as well. And if you can get those players, that's only a bonus for us in the long term as well. And I think a good example of that, look at Reece James, for example. I think even though he came from our academy and stuff, when he started playing for us under Lampard, he was like a prospect almost, you could probably say. Someone that's a bit proven under when he was playing at, I think, was it Wigan that he was playing at? Or
Wigan, yes.
Yeah, when he was playing at Wigan, right? And then obviously the Lampard season, he sort of burst onto the scene. And the season after, he only became better season upon season. So I think that's the sort of player that we're looking for. So and that's the sort of player that we do need right now.
The other thing I'd say about Freund and why it makes sense is, and it's kind of something Andrew mentioned earlier, is look at the Red Bull model. It's similar to how Bowley now wants to go with Chelsea. He wants to have that club that's at the top, and then he has, other teams, whether it be, you look at the Red Bulls, so say like Leipzig's at the top of that, you've got other teams, you've got your Salzburg, you've got your New York Red Bulls, you've got your Red Bull Bragantino, I think it is in Brazil. You've got other clubs that you're like filtering out to and from. So you're, say, again, I'll use their model. You look at like an RB Leipzig or a Salzburg, you're getting someone like a Brendan Aronson in from maybe not New York Red Bulls, but from a team in the same league because you're aware of him, into this team and get him onto a bigger team. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different at Chelsea, but then you look at someone like a Szoboszlai who came from Salzburg. Then went into Leipzig. You look at in a similar passageway for players like Lima, for players like I mentioned, Hwang Yi-chan, even though it didn't really work at Leipzig. For players like who else did that? I want to say Mukiele did that as well. Maybe Upamecano, I could be wrong there, but things like that. And then, like you said, it's not even just about finding players from. It's finding those players from others. So, like I was going to say as well, like someone like a Caden Clark who did come from New York Red Bulls, in a year or two's time, will be playing because he's already there, but will be playing for Leipzig. They've bought him. They've just loaned him back to Red Bulls, but he will be playing at Leipzig in a couple of years' time. So it's I get why they've gone for him, because it's a similar model as to what they already want, what Bowley wants to do. And then it's a guy who's used to that sort of model.
And, also going on that, another thing to keep in mind too, and I'm sorry if you guys said this before, I'm kind of in and out of doing things in the background here. It is the fact that if Freund does come to this club, although you can look at some of those recruitments that he's had in the past for Salzburg, and it can be a little underwhelming when you look at the names of like Keita, who hasn't done much in Liverpool.
But that's still good for them, right? Because they sold for 50 million.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
mean,
Adeyemi,
they
for
still
example.
make their money. But my point, well, what I'm trying to get at is that's him working under the budget and the circumstances he's given at Salzburg. I'm sure if he comes to Chelsea, he's given a lot more liberties. He has a lot more funding. He has a lot more support and accessibility when it comes to research and statistics and stuff tools that he could possibly use to even recruit better, more Erling Haalands, more Manes, more of these like really top of the line players that end up becoming like a Reece James and really developing really quickly. So I think I would even argue Freund at Chelsea. I know some people aren't impressed with the names that he's gotten at Salzburg, but when you're at Chelsea, I'm sure it'll work very differently.
If you look at how much Chelsea spend this season, like he will get like 200. He will get averagely every season at least like 100 million, between 200 million like every season. He's not going to be given like 50 to 100 million at like Salzburg. He's going to get given a lot more. So you're definitely right about that. So what you saying, Ahmed?
I was just gonna say maybe not always 100 to 200 million, but I think maybe but what I'm trying to say is that we at Chelsea we probably have more money behind us, and we can probably create an even better scouting network than RB has, for example. Right? A lot of these like mid-table teams, right? Like when you look at your Brightons, your other teams, even like in Germany with Dortmund and even RB Leipzig and them lot, they're more. They, instead of like, obviously putting money into the transfer market as such, they've really put in money into their scouting networks to basically give them the best players possible for them to grow, develop, and basically also be a part of their squads. Whereas for us, we can probably do something similar while also having like, the transfer, the transfer ability to obviously, go out and also buy world-class players if we need to as well. And that's what I think is a much more better and efficient model. We can't just rely just on the kids, but also if you have a great scouting which can progress kids that become world class, and also buy players which can be who are already world class, then it's a win-win situation in that sense, because that way you get dividends from both sides.
Yeah, I agree. Do we know if there is there any rumors as to who we're going for right now? Because I'm a little out of the loop when it comes to that.
I heard a rumor that we're looking at the Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah,
I don't know his name, but the Bayer Leverkusen.
Tim something, right? I just saw that in passing.
I think I didn't look at.
Call it.
I think I also heard about Mitchell, but I'm not sure. Apparently, Mitchell's keen on the job, but I don't know if he's gonna allow him to leave.
The thing that worries me is not is the wrong word, but like the thing that isn't on our side, and this isn't Bowley's fault. It's no one's fault. It's just. It's not even time. It's the fact that we're starting behind everything in terms of like, you look at the people we're going for. Like Campos has just joined PSG. Like I know he's only technically there in an advisor role, but by the sound of the way he spoke, especially in a recent interview, it sounds like he wants to be there at least for a couple of years. Like they're building something decent. You look at someone like Mitchell, just signed a new contract this summer, and because of that contract, is now actually a board member on at Monaco as well. So. I find it hard to believe that he's going to go from that, like literally signing a contract like a couple months later, like wanting to leave straight away to just going back to being a DOF. Like I feel like you'd have to make the what's it called, like the project. You'd have to make the project sound like the most lucrative project like he's ever heard, which Pioli might be able to do. Like he fully might be able to do. Then again, you look at like a Freund, like he's already in a system that he's so used to. Is so key. Like he's completely in tune with it all. Edwards, again, like it's almost a bit too early with him. Like he wants that time out of football, so nothing's going to happen until next summer with him at the earliest. It's like just a few of these guys that we're looking at. We're just the timing's just a little bit wrong with a few of these guys, which is kind of annoying. But I have faith that we'll get someone. I just don't know who it will be at this point.
I think that's a really good point you brought up too, just because I've been saying for a while now, I really think the process of operations in which we did all this, we really should have been going for a DOF from the jump and let him handle everything. Let him have the stress of communicating with Tuchel, seeing what kind of players he needs, what kind of a team he wants to form, what connections he has, and relaying that to the transfers as well. But we are where we are. I see what Scott's saying. We're a little late into the game, and people are signing contracts. They're really, nailing themselves down to teams and stuff. I do think that the Chelsea project is a lucrative one, though. I will say, I don't think it's going to take too much convincing to that when you hear just what Bowley wants to do with the youth and all the expansion, little farmer clubs and stuff that he wants to do. And even expanding the stadium, it seems like a very, very big project ahead of him, and he's gonna need a whole team and all that. He's getting the CEO, as we've heard, and all that. So there's a lot going on. I think the Chelsea project is going to be a lucrative one for sure. Let's go ahead and move on to this one. This is probably going to take up the majority of our conversations today. I'm all for it. Listen, you guys may call me anti-American, or you probably think as I'm American that I am a Tuchel lover, and not you guys in the panel. I just mean people in general watching this. Listen, I'm far from it. Okay. I want this. I don't want this guy in my club anymore, and I've been like that for a while. I wasn't impressed since the moment I've seen him. So. Listen, for Chelsea, he's Christian Pulisic. For United States, he's Captain America. Let's go ahead and discuss what he just said recently. So I can't find like a Twitter or anything. So we're just going to go ahead and read ESPN, which, still good news website for sports.
They'll probably be more reliable
with
him. They'll probably be more reliable with
Probably. All right. So United States star Christian Pulisic has criticized his former Chelsea manager, Thomas Tuchel, saying he was left dumbfounded and very disappointed by the decision not to start him in the Champions League semifinal second leg against Real Madrid in 2021, which, if I remember correctly, that is the year we won it, right? 2021 is the year we won it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. It is the year we won it, yeah.
I was still complaining about it.
Pulisic started and scored Chelsea's goal in a 1-1 draw in the first leg in Madrid, which was a very, very good goal, in my opinion. I do remember that goal. However, he began on the substitutes bench for the return leg at Stamford Bridge, despite, according to Pulisic, being assured he would be in the starting lineup. And this is where the quote begins. What happened before the game was I can't talk today, guys. What happened before the game was hugely disappointing for me. Pulisic wrote in his upcoming book, Christian Pulisic, My Journey So Far.
Oh my!
According to an expert,
it's going to be other books
on Tuesday. I'll get to this guy. I'd had a really good first leg performance, and our following match was against Fulham in the league. Tuchel told me that he was resting me for the second leg, and as a result, I didn't play a single minute in the Fulham game. Then on match day of the second semi, Tuchel tells me he changed his mind and he's going with Kai Havertz. I honestly was dumbfounded and very disappointed. I thought I'd earned a start, and more importantly, he had assured me previously I was going to start. And I think there's other stuff here. Adding further insight into his strained relationship with Tuchel, Pulisic said that his goal against Madrid came after ignoring advice from his then manager. Quote, as I take off the run, I hear Thomas yelling from the sideline, Christian, stay in the pocket, don't make the run, he wrote. But I just had the feeling I'd find a space and get on the end of the pass, so I continued the run. Pulisic did come off the bench second leg, yada, yada. And I think that's the one he ended up scoring, right? He ignored Tuchel. Yeah. Well, okay. I'll start off by saying this. Dude, you're 24 years old. What the fuck are you writing a book about at this age? Like, come on, man. You're not even like, okay, yeah, maybe it's very possible. No, I'm not like, I know it's funny, but it's very possible it's like a cash grab. Obviously, I've told you guys from the United States perspective, when you look at TV here in the US, like Pulisic is seen as the face of American soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. And he's a really important figure in American football. And I was talking, who was I talking to the other day? I think I was talking to Jose, and we were saying how, like, when we were growing up, although Landon Donovan carried the U.S. team through a lot, and he was such a huge part of it, the face of U.S. football was Donovan Dempsey Howard. It was never just pinned on one person, and it seems really odd this day and age that it's all pinned on Pulisic, and I think that feeds into his ego. And man, you're writing a book. It's an autobiography. It's not even a biography. It's an autobiography. So he's writing it himself. He's taking the time to do this.
Autobiography. Oh,
yeah, it's
Lord.
an autobiography.
Come on, man.
So that's another thing to distinguish. It's not like someone's writing this about him. He's writing this about himself.
But you know,
going to a ghostwriter,
there's going to be other books. Because what's the title of this? My Journey So Far.
Yo.
So you know there's going to be.
Can you imagine if he writes a subliminal?
3 more books.
Yeah.
Right, his career. There's going to be.
He's going to write a second one. It's going to be My Journey So Far, So Far.
To like the other teammates.
It's just, it's absurd. And it's like, I find it ridiculous that.
What happened if we talk shit about the other teammates?
It might happen. It might. I mean, if there's someone he didn't get along with, it's
You
very
can't
possible.
disrespect that he didn't start over Kai Havertz. Like, he didn't care about like how Chelsea played in the second game.
It's also like again, like, and let me just finish my point here. It's again, you're 24 years old. You're writing this book, dude. It's also like there's professionalism involved in this. Like, surely you have to find a better way to word how you're going to be criticizing a manager that helped you win a Champions League. And this is a team sport. Like, you have to be.
You normally
it's
do
almost
when
like Kane. Well. It's almost like Kane with the gentleman's handshake, the gentleman's agreement. Like, oh, I promise you'll play the next game. What happens if Kai Havertz has like I don't even know what happened in that Fulham game. Did Kai have a good game? I don't know. But like, let's say Kai did have a great game, and persuades gives the manager the headache. And now, man, Kai's playing this well. I saw the link up that he had with Mason and this and that. I kind of want to start him. You know, the manager has the right to change his mind. It's just absurd. Go ahead, please.
Well, the new things about Tuchel is the stuff that's been added after Tuchel. He obviously said them, but decided not to add them while Tuchel was still in the job. So now Tuchel's left. He's adding this stuff about Tuchel because there was nothing about this book about Tuchel before when Tuchel was in the job. You know what I mean? It was just it's coming out, stuff like that. So that's why they delayed it a bit, because they're adding this stuff about Tuchel in there that he obviously he was holding off on, because there's no way he's going to say it while Tuchel's in the job. But you know what? Everyone's entitled to write a book. It's all fine, you know. No matter how. I mean, I've seen younger people write an autobiography. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and haven't done anything. He's got listen. He's got a fascinating story. A kid that leaves 15, 16, goes to Germany, makes tries his luck, and makes it, wins the Champions League. You know, I want to hear. And now he's literally the face of American soccer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
but it's like, this is my problem with it. I agree. I don't care that he wrote a book. And in fact, I don't really much care about the things he said. It's just that right now you're under so much scrutiny. You have so much criticism, and you're struggling to find your way into the first team. This is an autobiography. So rather than focus on your career, focus on improving as a player, focus on getting yourself back to that starting squad and proving yourself to the manager, rather than just sitting here all passive aggressively complaining to yourself that, oh, the manager didn't start me, he broke his promise, yada yada. It just makes you look bad, bro. It just makes you look bad. And the timing of it all coming out, obviously it's all planned. Clearly, like, Pulisic didn't plan it, but whoever the publicist was or whoever leaked that information obviously planned it so that it made it look worse than it was. It's just it basically screams Lukaku and over again. And you know what? This makes me look back at that Lukaku situation. It makes me wonder, How much did that fucking bullshit that happened with Lukaku influence how players feel they can talk about the team, the club, the managers, and how they go about in their free time to do things like, you know, articles and interviews and stuff like this to say the things that he said, that have the bullocks and the ego to say what he says. It all just looks bad to me. It just seems like he's so in over his head. Bro, wait till your career is done. Have a great career. Focus on your career right now and make the best out of it. Because Tim Howard, Clint Dempsey, Landon Donovan, Brian McBride, all these great U.S. players, all these great U.S. legends didn't fucking stop in their careers to write a book. They made it to the World Cup. They won they did a lot together as a team, and it was a very strong team that we had for years. They didn't sit down and stop to write a fucking book. They finished a career, and now they're talking about their experiences, and now they're talking about the mentality of being in the U.S. men's national team. Christian Pulisic, if I remember correctly, when you were in the team, the U.S. men's national team for the first time in years didn't make the World Cup. They did not qualify for the World Cup. You need to focus up on your career, focus up on improving your teammates and challenging for trophies and all that stuff. It's just, I'm not crying, Jose. It's just stupid. If anyone here is crying, it's fucking Christian Pulisic whining about how his career didn't work out the way it is, making a book about it. It's just so egotistical. It's like, dude, focus on your fucking football, get good, and then you won't have these issues that your dad's fucking tweeting about, liking shit about. It's just all stupid, man. It just looks bad. I don't know. That's my rant.
Go ahead, Spot. Yeah.
I say, let's call a spade a spade. My man is a bitch. My man might be when it comes to footballers. And people need to realize, by the way, I'm not holding like. You're in for something now. I'm not going to bite my tongue about Pulisic. But my man, when it comes to footballers, might be the most insecure pussy I've ever seen. Like, why are you, number one, right? Why are you writing a book at 24? Like, you've done fuck all with your life.
That's what I mean.
Exactly.
What have you done at 24?
I had a little look, right? It's not even right. Like, he had something mental happen in his childhood. Like, say, for example, you had someone like an Edin Dzeko write a book. I'd understand, because if you go and hear him speak about his childhood, like, he's spoken in interviews before about how, like, there was one moment where his mum didn't let him go and play football in the street with some of his friends. And as it turns out, that was a good decision, because a bomb was dropped in his hometown where he would have been playing football. His friends were killed. So you'd understand if he wrote a book. But no, he hasn't done. That's not happened. Nothing. Like, most has happened is he's gone to play football in another country at a young age. Cool, good for him. My man's done fuck all in the world of sport. In the world of football, he's done nothing. He's done literally nothing. Like, he's done nothing. And as well as someone, so every week I watch a podcast about the MLS. Just because I like to. It's one of my like kind of guilty pleasures that I like in football. I like watching the MLS. And they were speaking about it recently, because they were talking about the men's national team, the US men's national team. And a point that they brought up, which I didn't think about was very good, was, say, for example, right, Thomas Tuchel goes to manage Bayern. Say Pulisic happens to get a transfer to Bayern Munich. How's that going to go down? What happens if you end up on a team that Thomas Tuchel is managing in the future? Because that's very likely. Like, it's not very, but it's kind of likely. You've got what, like 8 years probably left of your career at least. Like, there's a chance you could end up on the same team as Tuchel. What happens then? Why are you burning bridges at 24? If you need to write this book and you feel the need to burn bridges, do it when you're 32. Do it when you're 33 at the end of your career, when it doesn't matter. Like, why are you doing it now? Like, just from a purely like just. Not even just hating on him, just from a common sense, like, for the sake of your career, why are you doing it now? And like has been pointed out, what is the need for this? Why do you feel the need to put this out into the like just into existence now of all times, when a hugely popular manager has just been sacked?
I don't think he chose when it came out, but he definitely.
Oh, you have some say in that. Like, you as the author, or as the person who's like the subject of the book, you have some say in that. Have some like common sense and some.
These Tuchel comments weren't in there Marshall until after he got
Oh,
sacked.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but like have some what's the word? Like,
But this is the
have
thing.
some understanding. Like read the room. Be able to read the room. Like this is not the timing.
It's
if you want to
so-
put this book out
yeah.
about your journey,
So tone
like
deaf.
say he puts out the year after what's it called? The year after like the Lampard season where he did really well. That's fair enough. Like it's still kind of stupid because he's only like what 22, 23 at that time. But like he's just had a really good season, so you'd understand it. Like now is just tone deaf and stupid.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, look, it's fine. Write a book whenever the fuck you feel like it. I am not the orator of when the fuck you write a book and when you don't. And like, I get it. Like for some people, I'm talking about their favorite player. I understand that. But the thing is, it's one thing to write a book and things are going great in your career. Like you could be Erling Haaland and writing a book. You can be Mbappe writing a book. That's fine. But when you are struggling to find playtime, whenever you play on the pitch, you're either getting injured constantly, or whenever you play on the pitch, you look poor and you can't work your way into the Chelsea team. And there's so much criticism about how you've been playing and all this scrutiny. You're telling me, and people, you don't write a book in a day. This is a time commitment. He took time out of his own career and training to write this book when he could have used that time to improve where he needs to improve on. Look, I respect Callum Hudson-Odoi for not going to the U23s when he had the opportunity to train under Tuchel to try to find his way into the team. He at least tried to do that. You don't hear Pulisic doing that. Even for the US friendly team matches that he didn't need to be there, you don't hear Pulisic saying, "Oh, I'm gonna not go to the US men's call up just because I want to train and be better here." It's just like actions speak louder than words. That's the thing. Whatever. At the end of the day, it's just ridiculous to say, "Oh, we're bitching, we're crying over shit." It's like, bro, this guy needs to leave the club. He doesn't have the minerals to be at Chelsea. He's been terrible for Chelsea, and he doesn't have the. You know what? He does not have the goddamn mentality to be at this team. If you're gonna take time out of your training to write a fucking book, bro, get the fuck out. Seriously.
I just wonder, you know how like Lukaku got treated, like obviously because he said his words about Chelsea. I think about Tuchel a little bit, and he got a lot of hate. Like everything Lukaku did, he got hate for. I just wonder now, like when this book does come out and everybody does read it or like hear about it, I wonder if like Pulisic will get the hate and everything. Because like he talked about the Champions League semi-final, he didn't get to start. It sounded like it's all about him, and he just wanted to play and be the main guy. And obviously, he didn't care about the team as much as I don't think so.
That's actually a fantastic point, which I did not think about. I'm not even joking when I say that, like, those comments that he said were as bad, if not worse, than the ones Lukaku made. Look, go and read what Lukaku said. Like, go and read the transcripts of what Lukaku said. Like, apart from when he's talking about Lautaro and Inter, and like, that's, I understand why he did that. Talk about, if you see what he says about Tuchel, most of it is saying that he's not suited to the system, but he's trying to find ways. Him and Tuchel are speaking, trying to find ways that like that can change, that he can do better. Like he sounds like a player, at least in that interview at the time, who's trying to change his fortunes to benefit himself and the team. The way Pulisic's comments come across are me. I'm a little pussy bitch who needs to be pandered to.
God damn. But like, I'm not gonna go that far. I feel like what Lukaku said was a lot worse.
Really,
Lukaku. I thought from what I remember from the Lukaku situation, saying he changed tactics or formation on me and stuff like that. Like just throwing Tuchel under the bus essentially and saying he never really
about
wanted
the system
Chelsea.
not suiting him.
It's just.
You know what people got really mad about Lukaku is how he set up the vid, like at his own place, setting up the video. Now Pulisic has done his own book.
Chocolate over there. Jesus Christ.
But now Pulisic is actually writing a book and taking time, and then obviously calling out like Tuchel.
But also,
obviously,
like,
Tuchel's gone now, but
this is the other thing that frustrates me too. It's just like, okay, as a player, and you're seeing how your dad is reacting to tweets, liking Kai Havertz like failing tweets and Mount failing and all that stuff, which is already like unhinged as it is. Like, I'm sure Pulisic didn't want that kind of attention brought on him. There's already enough scrutiny on him. what makes you think writing a book at your age when you're in bad form is gonna make it any fucking better, bro? Where is the mentality? Where's the logic in this? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
There isn't. I'll
Like,
let's
to
be
fair,
honest, guys. You can go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just say like I like
Yeah.
the thing with me like with this is like I kind of agree with what you said earlier. Like the actual writing a book, I don't care about. Like if he wants to write a book. Like who gives a fuck? It's more of like what the whole thing kind of means and what it shows me. It just shows me that his attitude is just terrible. Like he's got no backbone. He's got no spine. Like everything about the way he goes about things in terms of like the nonsense with his dad, the fact that he's never actually like, you don't even have to condemn what he says. Just be like, just like say something in it in like a diplomatic way that's like, I don't necessarily agree with everything that my dad says, or like my dad's views are like be kind of diplomatic about it, but he never has done. Like it's just a mentality of like I'm right about it. Like it just comes across as like he's so. I think is Ryan Beck Carlito, by the way.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. I think Carlito said it earlier. Like he's so self-centered. Like it comes across as like proper selfish and like self-centered how it is. And like I said, like to me it just comes across like you're a pussy. Like you can't take criticism. You can't take like things going bad for you. Like you just come across like a bitch. Like at least the thing I can say about like other players on our team, like the Ziyech, like yeah, he looks like he doesn't give a shit, but he never actually says anything that makes you think he doesn't give a shit. And like Mount, fair play, he's shit. He doesn't say anything. Like you never hear anything about him apart from the angry eyes nonsense. With Pulisic, it's all the fucking time, whether it's him or his dad. He comes across like a bitch.
You know what this really reminds me of?
Go on.
You know what this really
ahead,
like? I was gonna say it kind of really reminds me of You know, if you watch the NBA, for example, sometimes you get these players interviews, you know, especially when they're like, you know, a bit more like above average and like start, and then they're not really happy with the coach, and then they do these little things that you see like on Twitter and that stuff, and that's what it's really looking like with Pulisic for me. The thing with Pulisic is, we can talk, if we just talk about form alone, half the season he's sitting on the bed, medical bay. The other half, whenever he does try to come on and play, you have like a good game or two, but then he'll just peter out. And I don't know. And what's really annoying me is just that, you know, the comments that he's making, like right now, for example, that's like he's had a dig at his own teammate there, basically. If you think about it. In a sense, in a sense, it's like, oh, why is he starting over me? Like, you're the one that I'm the one that should have been starting. You know, he's questioning Tuchel's tactics now in a semi-final against Real Madrid, saying that I have better knowledge than the coach. And this is only going to hurt us more, because let's say we're trying to sell this guy now, and he's made comments like this already. Like, which manager is going to want him?
And you know what's funny is that, like, I'm sure he said that. Look, again, I'm sure there's a lot more context to these things. It would be smart for any of us, if we ever get the chance, to read this book and see what he says about everything. I'm actually kind of curious if he's going to be dumbfounded when he missed the goal at Champions League final. You know, I'll see if he describes that as being dumbfounded too. But the thing is, I love how he states that he didn't listen to Tuchel this incident and it ended up working out for him. Cool. How many instances did you not listen to Tuchel and it ended up, you know, backfiring on you and hurting the team? You know, it's this divisiveness within the club and maybe not listening to a manager. You know, Tuchel has constantly come out and said he likes the attackers to be expressive and he doesn't coach them on how to play and all this stuff, but when one player sees how they don't listen to a manager, I'm sure it entices other players to not listen to the manager. And that's when you start getting the split and the divide in the locker room. And that's when you start getting performances that aren't uniform, that aren't organized. It's just, I'm sure this is the beginning of a snowball of bad performances for for Pulisic, just because he didn't want to listen to the manager, because he maybe in his head thought he knew better than Tuchel. I don't know, because the one instance he got it right.
The one like last kind of thing I'll say on the Pulisic thing is you've got arguably one of, if not the greatest player to ever grace the Premier League, telling you I'm paraphrasing here, to basically fix the fuck up. Like he said, free yourself because you've been shit. He's one of the best ever players to ever grace the Premier League, and he's telling you to fix up. Maybe you should listen. Just maybe take a bit of advice.
Man, just listen, man. I agree. Just listen.
Oh, you're talking about
Take
Terry
a hint.
Henry's comments, right?
Yeah.
I didn't
Terry Henry, yeah. Take a hint, man.
Sure,
Take
he
a
did say
hint,
that.
please. Take a hint, man. Because he looks like someone that's like, you know, he's in his own circle, he's in his own world, man. And that is not good, man. That's not good. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I don't even know who's gonna take Pulisic right now. If we're being honest here, I'm hearing the only club that's
Not many.
viable as of right now is Newcastle. And that's a downgrade.
I think
if we're
maybe
being honest.
Juventus would, but like nothing really too big. Like Juventus is a big name, of course, but like they're not that great now. So not too many great teams right now. You won't see a Real Madrid. You won't see a Bayern Munich. You won't see a even Barcelona wouldn't take them. Rather Rafinha and Dembele. But like, no, go on.
That's his dad's gonna not. Of course, his dad's gonna come out and say stuff. His son's his meal ticket. Do you know what I mean? It's true.
Oh my
It's
God.
true, right? It's true. They're living off their son.
Yeah, they are.
Let's face it, they are. They're living off their son, and I would as well. So, you know.
No denying it.
Oh my days.
Yeah, that's
But-
shameless.
He's a golden goose here.
It's annoying to see this kind of shit come out, especially in the timing that it did, and especially in the form that he's been in. It's like we've beaten this over the head already. It's like, who the fuck are you to talk? Like, seriously. But let's just move on, boys. Let's get triggered over other stuff.
There's no return back.
Before we do, 37 of you locked in. Thank you very much. Like, share, subscribe. Only takes a second to like, please. Thank you.
Much appreciated. All right, next topic we're going to talk about is the transfer rumors surrounding N'Golo Kante. I know we briefly kind of talked about this last time, and it was just an idea, but it seems that there's more, I guess, solidity around it and rumors around it all. So I'm going to go ahead and read Ben Jacobs' tweets right here that came out a few days ago in regards to N'Golo. So Ben Jacobs coming out and saying Juventus interest in N'Golo Kante is only superficial at this point. Lots of clubs monitoring his situation, including PSG. Juventus first inquired on Kante during dialogue surrounding then Juve defender Matthias de Ligt. But Max Allegri preferred Jorginho, who wasn't keen. That's a key word, I think, right there. Jorginho wasn't keen on the move to Juventus, which everyone thinks that he wants to go back to Italy, but we'll see now after that comment. Suitors aware that Graham Potter's arrival may change the Kante situation, although currently no contract extension is close. Potter has always been a big fan of Kante from afar and now keen to assess his form and role when fit. Kante, one of the highest earners at the club, which complicates matters. Midfield incomings in January will naturally influence the situation too. As an aside, Juventus also considered a loan with an option to buy for Christian Pulisic over the summer. Pulisic keen to link up with Weston McKennie, but in the end, after some internal talks, no offer was made. All right, well, that goes back to what we were talking about before, about what club would want Christian Pulisic. And it's very possible that Weston, his buddy at the U.S. men's national team, is probably putting in a good word for him to bring him to Juventus. Who knows? But
McKennie's not even a
it's
star,
looking-
isn't he? At Juve. Is McKennie a star at Juve? He isn't, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he is.
no, McKennie's a starter. Yeah,
Is he?
one of
I
them,
thought
or at least he
from
gets
what I've been
rotated.
McKennie
He he gets good runs of games. I mean, I don't know if this is I guess a little arrogant to say, but I think he's one of their best players. At least when it comes to the midfield, he's definitely one of their best midfielders. But he's definitely not bad for Juve, Weston McKennie. But Kante, it's looking like there are lingerings. PSG France, of course, because Kante's French, and Juve. I don't know. I am. We talked about the whole Kante and Jorginho situation. I think most of us wouldn't be opposed to having them both leave, but it's looking more that Kante could potentially be in talks of leaving. We still don't have a contract situation with him. He's getting up there in age. I know Potter rates him. Then again, what manager doesn't rate Kante? I feel like all managers really love this player and always want to play him, and every manager ends up overplaying him, which is a trend now with him. But I don't know, guys. How do you feel about these talks about N'Golo Kante possibly leaving soon to Juve or whatever? Do you think it's the right move? Just to, I guess, to reassess this, do you feel that we should just let him go, let his contract run out? I mean, just overall opinions on this article that came out with Ben Jacobs. Whoever wants to start
If
off.
we're being honest, yeah.
Go on.
If you're being honest, Kante is the maximum games that Kante has played in the Premier League for the last 3 years. I think is 25 games, if I'm not mistaken.
What? 25 starts or
25 starts. So I think it's 25 starts, or just 25 games in total. That's the number
I
of
can't
games
be
he's
divided
played.
25 games in 3 seasons, so that can't be right still.
No. That's the maximum games that he's played per season in the last 3 seasons. So that's the highest.
Oh,
he's
per
played.
season.
Yeah,
Okay.
the last 3 seasons,
Yeah, that makes sense.
The highest amount of games that he's played in the Premier League is 25. That's what I'm saying to you. So
Yeah.
I think one of them he played 21, and then there was another
Kante's still gold.
Yeah. So
See?
what I'm trying to say though is that Kante's time is up. Let's be honest, guys. Like the injuries, particularly his hamstring injury, have really come back to bite him right now, and he's hurting the wage. He's also now hurting our wage balance right now. Something that I think it was an SI Phillips. They were saying that he's sort of now like he hasn't got that many friends now left at the club. Like he's sort of feeling lonely as well, which can also add into that as well. I can't believe I'm saying that, but that was a report that
I can't believe I'm hearing this right now.
Yeah,
Kante
so,
lonely?
He's like 30. Come on.
Yeah.
Ka-
And then he's
Kante
31.
lonely?
Yeah, he's only
31.
Poor Kante.
Yeah,
Is he 31 or 32?
Kante, we're here for you. You want to hug Kante? I'll give you a hug, man.
The reality
you don't have
is,
to be alone.
The reality is, Kante, he should either take a pay cut, and then we use him. As I said before, you use him for the big games. You use him for in the 60th minute to just come on and just do a little 30-minute job. Won't affect him as much, and not that much intensity. Otherwise, you just let him go. Like, I don't care if he goes to PSG or these other clubs, because he's not gonna, because they're probably going to do the same thing that we've been trying to do, and it won't be as effective. So it's fine, let him go. We need to get some new young blood into the midfield. We need some more creative eights, to be honest, and if we are going to go for like a lone DM sort of system, then we can have the lone 6, which will probably be a Jorginho replacement, and then you have the creative 8. That's the Kante replacement. And I don't know if you know, but apparently they're now being linked to Benacore, from AC Milan, and that certainly is interesting if Kante is leaving. So if you can get money from him in January, I wouldn't be opposed to it either. Sell him in January if you can get the replacement 8.
But okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest arguments for N'Golo not leaving the club is that it seems that every time we lose N'Golo, Chelsea drop levels in their performances. It seems like N'Golo Kante, especially in the midfield, is like think about our recent performances.
What, this season?
Ever since N'Golo got dropped, we've been absolutely terrible.
See how
We've
I
had
see
no
it.
midfield because Jorginho's the only midfield. And Kovacic is still not at 100%. But it seems like every time we lose N'Golo, we drop levels to our football. And it goes to show how important of a role N'Golo plays for the team and just being the glue, which I hate to say, for someone who seems to be very brittle, it's kind of shitty that he's the glue to our team, but that I agree with what Ahmed's saying. If there's a time and place to sell him, the sooner the better, that we can get a decent amount of money out of him, whether it be 50 mil or 80 mil, whatever the fuck. That's just me being, hopeful. But Yeah, I'm just reading this comment right.
See,
Why have Chelsea been poor
I
in
don't-
defending quick crosses?
But it's just that again, like when you go back onto Kante right now, yeah. Yes, the reason why that's happening, yes, because he's our best player, but B, because we don't have a certified replacement for him in the club. So
No.
what do we expect when Kante's not there?
He's
We don't
not
have a
our best player,
replacement. No, I'm saying to you, at his best, he is our best midfielder. There is no doubt. Yeah, I think
Kovacic is
everyone
better midfielder right now because lately
No,
Kante
no.
has not been the same.
No,
Even
bro,
when he plays,
I'm not the
he
same.
has shocking games as well. Like,
Bro,
is it was it last season or the season before that where he had like a couple good games and that was it? Like when he's playing.
But I'm saying on his day, Kante is the best player in our midfield. Like there is no doubt about that. I'm pretty sure everyone here can agree
Oh,
on
it's
that.
last season, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not just talking about like his form, but in general, when he's playing at his best at peak physicality, whatever you want to call it, he is our best player, and we haven't replaced him yet. And we need to do if we can replace him in January with another creative box-to-box 8, and then let him leave. If you can't let him leave, just let him run out his contract and let him go then, and that'll be fine. Believe me, I'm telling you. Oh, PSG want him. Let him have him.
See, I would 100% let him leave because like he's 31. He's not again obviously younger. His injuries are just as bad. When he does play, he doesn't always play like every game well. As he, like the prime Kante, he played every game really good. Like now he just plays. He's inconsistent. I honestly think he's very inconsistent now when he does play because he can have shocking performances as well for Chelsea. And now like we have got a lot of players. I think Kovacic is our best midfielder now. But obviously Kovacic is getting injured a lot, so Kovacic needs to sort that out hopefully. But yeah, I 100% let him leave because he's on 300k a week. Like a club will take him because he is a big name, and obviously maybe if he goes to Spain or France, he might find it easier there. Warmer weather, Spain as well, might be nice. I don't know. So yeah, like I would let him leave.
But it's a cycle winner of Kante. He'll get injured. Yeah, he'll come back for he'll be out for 2 to 3 weeks. He'll come back. You come back. First 2 games will be a bit meaty. Play the 3rd game. Oh, it's amazing. Kante's back. The 4th game, he's got he's got a little pulley with the hamstring. And then the cycle starts
what
again.
I like Kante for now, and I wish Kante would like take a wage cut. I'm not saying he has to, but I wish he takes a wage cut because he'd be good for depth. I think like not use him all the time and. Like I find it like I feel sorry for him when he has to like get thrown into a game because he's like very fragile and he can get injured in like that game or whatever. Like he's just too injury prone and we got like protect him and like use him for like maybe some games, important games.
That's the shitty part too. Like with his experience, his CV, it's just he doesn't. There's no way you can really get him to take a wage cut. I mean, unless he. And this depends solely on N'Golo, right? Unless he actually plans to retire at Chelsea and they'll go down as a... I mean, even if he leaves the club now, I think he would still go down as a Chelsea legend.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
If he really wants to cement his legacy, then he retires at the club. But he needs to take a wage cut if he wants to stay here. Because it's not that I want N'Golo to leave because I don't think he's good enough. Oh, I think N'Golo's, like Ahmed stated, like he's our best player on his day, easily our only world-class player in this team.
Is he? Thiago?
Thiago is also a world-class. I don't know if I'm going to say Reece James.
I would say Reece James. Reece James because he's literally one of the best right-backs in the world. So
I would say let's say midfield. I think the argument is best said that he is our best player in midfield easily. Yeah.
But that being said, it's the fact that he's not reliable anymore. He's injured now more times than he's available for the team. And if we're going to be criticizing Christian Pulisic and his past, which, by the way, one of the few compliments I'm going to give Christian is the fact that he's managed to stay fit, which is good on him. He needed to fix that, and he definitely improved on that. But if we're going to be touting these arguments about why Pulisic shouldn't be in the club, and one of them is going to be because he's injury prone, surely you can have that consistent view on N'Golo Kante, who has been injury prone for a very long time now, and it's only been getting worse. The fact of the matter is that he had a hamstring injury towards the end of last season that he nursed all of preseason, only to have 2 games under his belt and have the same exact hamstring injury again, which put him out for this run of games that we've been playing. So
It's a shame, really.
it's a shame, and it's one of those things that I think you got to take your losses. You just gotta cut your losses.
But
when
if
you can.
we do get rid of Kante, we definitely have to get a midfielder in because we are like
We have to get a midfielder in anyway.
That's
Like,
why I'm
So
saying,
I do agree with that, Scott. We're low on depth.
this January, realistically, we should be getting 2 midfielders, 1 replacement for Jorginho, 1 replacement for Kante, and release
I
both of them
agree.
at the end of the
Did
contract.
you guys have anyone in mind for the midfield?
There's a couple players there were a couple midfielders. Like I think before he was sacked and before the player moved, we could have got someone like Weigl in, who played under Tuchel, did the similar job that he wanted Jorginho doing, did it really well at Dortmund. There's other players that you could get, like Nunes would have been brilliant before he went to what's it called? Wolves. Neves would be a brilliant one, but again, he'd be like 18 or be very expensive, but be worth
How
it.
many years has his contract left, Scott, after the season? Is it
What,
1 year
Neves?
left? Yeah, would it be 1 or 2 years left after the season?
I actually have no idea. I genuinely don't know.
It'd be 3 or 2 or something like that.
If you wanted to try and go back in, you have got the option of Frankie de Jong if you can somehow convince him, but I don't think he is going to leave. But yeah, like for me personally, like I would just be getting rid of Kante and Jorginho at their end of their contracts. Like it's a normal process. I know that Marina and Roman and everyone didn't want to do it, but it's a new process. Like you can let players go on freeze. Like there's no problem with that. Let them both go on at the end of their contract. You don't need to sign either of them to an extension, but you need to get their replacement in January. So you have 6 months to prepare them for when they inevitably will be the first team players. They'll be the starters.
There's one midfielder I'd definitely bring in Marshall is Ruben Neves. If we get rid of Jorginho and Kante, Ruben Neves would be a great replacement to the squad. I know Andrew loves him a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like Andrew's a big fan of him, so I think we should definitely bring him in. He's a good DM.
The thing is, if we could get in someone like an Alvarez or a Betancourt, for example.
Alvarez, that's who.
Alvarez and a Betancourt combo would be great, for example, or an Alvarez or even a Neves, to be honest.
Should I point out the obvious?
Go ahead.
Caicedo.
Potentially, I don't know if he actually will go in for him. Like I think the rumours from like him and Trossard and all that are just because they're Brighton players.
Yeah.
Like I purely think that's just because they're Brighton players and Potter liked them.
But
like
the thing with Caicedo is we're not the only ones watching Caicedo. Liverpool are. You can bet Man United will be, Arsenal, all the big boys will be watching him. He is. That's why they were so comfortable even though he went for a lower price, they were so comfortable letting Basuma go because they had this kid. They had Caicedo.
My biggest thing about Caicedo, and I don't have a problem with this, but I think other people would, is he's not a direct replacement to Kante because he does different things to Kante. So he's not a direct replacement. And I think some people would worry about that and take like issue with that, which I don't.
You mean like the fact that he's not really a destroyer like Kante?
Yeah, but Kante wasn't really either a destroyer, like not your typical sitter destroyer. He was like a roaming destroyer.
Yeah.
So whereas Caicedo's like, he's more than that. I think like he's got more going forward than Kante did. Like, or at least I think he does it more consistently, even though he's quite young, than Kante did.
I think one midfielder definitely comes in January.
Oh, 100%. I think Alvarez.
I think Alvarez
is the one.
There will be one midfielder.
And I hope it's Alvarez as well, because that would be the Jorginho replacement done, sorted.
I am disappointed that none of you guys mentioned the late, great, world, legendary, famous, proper Chelsea, proper hammer, Decker's Rice.
I can get in the bin, but he's... You know what jokes though? Declan Rice fits our team even less than he already did, which is the funniest thing.
Have you noticed there's no stories? Have you noticed there's no stories? And I'll stand corrected when it does. But there's no stories saying that how much Potter really wants Rice.
Just wait. They're writing.
I'll wait.
It'll
be
it's a special. Go ahead.
Because he kind of fitted in the Tuchel system in the sense of like he'd be playing in a double pivot, which is what he is best playing in. Under Potter, in the one game we've played, we didn't play with a double pivot. We played a single pivot. And Rice does not work in a single pivot because he doesn't want to sit. He number one, he's barely played in a single pivot. Number two, when he has, he's looked average to poor because he's not used to it, because he doesn't like sitting. His best attributes are taking the ball and driving with it forward.
Yeah. And he looks terrible in a 2 when the other player wants to push on and run, like with England.
Yeah.
So he has
I
to
don't
be
know,
the sitter.
boys. When Pulisic's book comes out and you look at the credentials, that's where all the Rice leaks will come out.
Oh,
yeah. Thomas came out mad about not Roman not backing him to get Declan Rice.
Well, when Thomas Tuchel takes
didn't have
over at
Rice at
Bayern
home.
next summer, he can buy Rice then. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. Rice to Bayern. Yeah, take him,
Rice
please.
to buy. Yeah, work on those
my
vitamins over there, the supplements.
See, on the whole Kante thing, I'm not bothered if he goes. Like, I don't think he's as irreplaceable as people like make out. I like, this is just my opinion, but I think he is fairly replaceable, just because of, number one is in terms of form. Like, he's not been in form for a while. People forget. Like, if you look from like about December, because I think he was injured for like a couple of games, then he came back just before the Club World Cup. From then till the end of the season, he had like 5 games, good to great games.
I don't know about you.
Wasn't consistent. The injuries mean you can't rely on him. The wages are far too high.
Yes.
Like, and then
he doesn't merit those wages.
Yeah, and for me, like, as a player, like this, as I said, for me, he's not irreplaceable. Like, go and look at what Tchouaméni's doing for Real Madrid. That would have been a perfect replacement for me. Like, might not have been like ready then and there in terms of being exactly like Kante, but was easily moldable to be like that.
I also think that there's 2 problems. Two more problems with this fan base. The problem is you going out and saying, "Oh yeah, we need to find a Kante replacement." Kante, you can replace Kante in a certain bit where you can replace the player in the squad, but you can't expect him to do whatever Kante used to do. Do you know what I mean? You'll have to bring other attributes. Maybe you can do parts of that. But you won't be able to do fully where you know, I quoted like the Kante. It's like having 3 of them on the pitch, the Kante triplets in some of these games, because he's all over the effing place. Second of all, I think this fan base has to understand, we're talking about letting the Kante of now go, not the Kante of what he was before. There's no way this club would sell the Kante of what he was before. We would offer him the extension he's looking for if he was still playing at the rate he was, or even half of what he was. He's not even half of what he was. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't. You know. It's very sad, the decline of him, but it all came so fast, and like all the success and everything, and then the injuries just hit him. But I just think, you know, we have to get into the moment. You know, all players leave, all players go. No players stay the same. Do you know what I mean? So, and new things happen.
This is the thing, though. Yeah, I'll say this is the thing, though, and so many fans do this. Fans don't want to get in their mind about certain players that they're not that player anymore. Like, so many people do it. So many people wanted to do it about Ronaldo. It's not Ronaldo 12 years ago. This is not Ballon d'Or winning Ronaldo. Like, this is a Cristiano Ronaldo who offers you nothing apart from he's going to score like some goals, but he offers you nothing else. This is not Kante of a few years ago, where he was arguably the best midfielder, like in the league, maybe in the world. Like, it's the same with Kovacic. I love Kovacic, but this is not the player from a couple years ago, even a year ago, before the injuries, where you could rely on him all the time. It's not that anymore. Same with Aspi. This is not an Aspi from like 2-3 years ago, where even if he made the odd mistake, was still fairly solid. Like, this is an Aspi who should not be playing anymore. Like, this happens with players. This happens. This naturally happens. Like, you just have to let it go and move on. Like, you can replace them. We did it with Drogba. Eventually with Costa, we did it with Lampard. Like, in points. Like, just because certain players leave doesn't mean that you cannot then replace them with someone. They might not be as good. Like, you might not find someone, if you're replacing like a 10 and you get like an 8. Yeah, he's not as good, but he's still good enough for you to win stuff.
Dude, I keep going back to this. It's the same with Michael Essien, man. One of my favourite ever players. As soon as he got those injuries and they started stacking up, never ever the same. Never hit the peaks of what he did. And that was a short career as well. But we got replacements in. It took us well. Mikel stepped up. Ramirez, Matic.
Yeah.
Matic came back, and then we got Kante. So it
Fabregas
happens,
as well.
It happens again. We had to move on from Makelele when he left. It just happens. We have to embrace it. We have to go. We have to move on. And I'm sorry, but as well as Kante is, and he smiles a lot, which is great. But
I would smile a lot if I was on 300k a week.
That smile is not worth 290 grand a week, and it's not worth a 3 year plus 1 year extension. It's not.
I can't even refuse that, didn't he?
It's not worth a 2 year plus 1 extension.
And the biggest thing, actually, Chris mentioning Fabregas actually made me think of this point.
Yeah.
All of this would be just irrelevant and a moot point if Kante was able to adapt his game to suit the fact his injuries are affecting him, but he can't.
Yes.
Like, 3 different managers now. You saw it under Sarri before the injuries, like before a lot of the injuries, under Lampard and under Tuchel. Like at some points, all of them at times tried to put Kante as a 6 or further back and limit how much he moved. And every single time he just drifted. He went to where the ball was because that's what he does. That's his game. That's what he likes to do. And 3 different managers of varying experience and varying tactical nous have tried and failed to get him to limit that. The only manager who has successfully managed that, and I think it's more out of who he's playing with rather than anything about Kante, the only manager that has managed to do it is Deschamps.
And Deschamps is what's made him worse by overplaying him when he's injured.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's unfair.
Deschamps will take him injured and injure him more and more.
This summer, he played him with the hamstring injury. I'm pretty sure. He had the hamstring injury that he got from Chelsea, and Deschamps still played him. It's absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. It's just complete disregard for the player itself. It's
because Kante could be a brilliant 6, a brilliant 6 who sits if he just learned how to stop getting attracted to the ball all the time, limit your movement, learn to just screen the back 4. But he just can't. It's not how he plays, and that's fair enough. But it means that there is a limit to how long he can be at his best, and I think we've hit that limit.
Yeah.
Maybe get one of those little bug zappers. You know how the bugs are attracted to the light? Just get shocked or something every time he approaches the ball. That way he can stay away. I gotta stay. I gotta wait for the ball to come to me. Can't go to the ball.
You know what's mad though? Sorry, I was gonna say people blame Jorginho for Kante's injuries. No, Kante just likes to run around like a headless chicken sometimes. That's what he is. That's what Scott was saying. He just likes to run for the ball all the time. Doesn't matter who he has beside him. He's going for that ball no matter who.
I was going to say, he's done that next to Drinkwater, next to Matic, next to Kovacic, next to whoever else you want to name. He's done that next to. But I don't know. I don't know how much did it in France because I didn't watch him that. I watched a couple highlights here and there in France, but didn't really see him. In terms of when he's been in England, he's done it next to every damn midfielder he's been next to, every single one. Just him.
All right, boys. Let's go ahead and move on to what arguably might be my favorite part of today's segment or today's show.
The outro?
Once again, everyone. No.
Oh, right.
This man. Jesus Christ, Andrew. What are you trying to say, dude? Oh my goodness, man. All right, well, we're moving on towards the final segment here, guys. Make sure you are smashing that like button and subscribing if you're new. We did hit 1,400, which, by the way, big up everyone in the chat helping us hit 1,400. Y'all deserve that. Appreciate you guys.
They weren't loud enough, Marshall. They weren't loud enough.
14.1 now. Let's go. 90 more than 1,500. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go for 15, please. That'd be amazing. But the last thing I wanted to talk about is
make some burner accounts.
This man. Pioli's talking shit. Pioli is talking shit about Chelsea Football Club We gotta go over there and have this man a taste of his own lasagna. Listen, bro, you need to calm down. You need to calm down with these comments. So here's a tweet that had the quote here. Milan coach Stefano Pioli. I understand our expectations around Chelsea, the Chelsea games, but I maintain the most difficult match for us will certainly be against Empoli. I trust that if we play at our usual levels, then results against Chelsea are certainly within our reach. We're ready to fight. We're ready to fight this guy, man. Listen, the way I see it, this I could be wrong. You guys definitely have your opinions on it and definitely correct me, but it seems to me that he maybe he misspoke. Maybe what he was trying to say was what Tuchel said after we lost that first leg of the Champions League last season, 2022. Where the journalist had asked him like, how do you feel about coming back in the second leg and all that stuff? And Tuchel's answer was pretty much like, I'm not worried about the second leg right now. I think our most important game is Southampton, our next game. I think this is along the lines what he was going at, but maybe he worded it in a very shitty way. And maybe I'm just giving Stefano Pioli the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know. I think it's also mind games. This is what happens. This is football after all. There are mind games within the managers and the shit talking, obviously. But guys, Andrew, let's start with you, man. What do you think about this? You think it's just nonsense? Is it time waster?
I don't know if you listen. It's hard to take what you mean when it's translated. Do you know what I mean? And read off the paper. What I take from that is that the priority for Milan is to retain the Serie A, having not won it for decades. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think that's what they want to do. They want to go back to. They want to build up themselves again in Serie A first, before they even think about taking on Europe. That's what I think he means. So I think he's like, whatever happens to the Chelsea games, whatever happens, but we need to make sure that we keep ahead in Serie A. We keep ahead of Inter, Roma, stuff like that. I think, who else is it? Napoli? I can't remember.
And Napoli, Napoli beat them in it.
Yeah.
Napoli
And
beat
the
them
Empoli
2-1.
game is the most important one for us because obviously it's the next one up, but it helps us try and retain the title. And then we go into the Chelsea games. Now, what's coming out of the international break, that Milan have suffered some injuries or potential injuries. Theo Hernandez, Sandro Tonali, and I think the goalkeeper as well is reported.
Manyan's out for 3 weeks.
So they'll be missed in as well. There's a few others, so you can understand it his point of view. He's coming out now going, it's important now because we've got these injuries coming up. It doesn't really matter to me. I mean, Milan have been ass in Europe since 2007, since they won the Champions League, and we've won two European Cups and 2 Europa Leagues since then. So over the last 15 years, our credibility in Europe is way above theirs. It's not even close in terms of that. So I wouldn't pay much attention. I wouldn't also go in and go, oh man, he's dissing Chelsea. He can't say that about Chelsea. Chelsea can't do that.
Chelsea.
I would literally.
I'm
taking it from the point of they want to retain the Serie A. They haven't done it in years, and they want to establish themselves first in their own league before they then try again in Europe. So,
do you guys feel the same
Part
way?
of me also wonders. Part of me also wonders. Is he gonna feel like a weaker team against us, and maybe that's why he's sort of saying that? Because remember, their game against us at home first next week. Technically it's next week. Yeah, next week basically. I think Tuesday or Wednesday. So it is a.
We go back to back.
Maybe he's
go back to back.
Yeah.
With them, so I think
the first one's away for them.
Yeah, I think it's like we got the literally
6
days after each other. While we, So, but it's like everyone in Europe now is going to play every 3 or 4 days. So
yeah, it's crazy.
It's one of those things. I wouldn't even think about AC Milan. It's more about us winning. We have to win. We cannot afford to lose any of these games whatsoever.
I just think as well, like,
I
just don't think it's all that deep. Like, I kind of agree with a lot of what Andrew said, and it's like, it kind of depends how you take it. Like, you see it as well as like him being like, with the Empoli game, it's like, it might be difficult for them in terms of like making sure the team are motivated or like have the same energy levels as they've been playing, because it's theoretically a weaker team. Whereas with Chelsea, like, it's because it's a better team, it might be easier for them to keep their mentality like right, like players they've been playing at the moment, because I think they're top of their league. So it might be speaking that way. Like, there's ways you can take it,
No,
but
they're
like,
not. They're in
They're
fifth
like,
place. I
they're
just
like
checked.
3 points behind.
oh, they're
From first to fifth, it goes Napoli, Atalanta, Udinese, Lazio, and Milan. Roma.
The points are close though. Like
yeah.
he's like they are like 3 points
and
behind
because,
first or something.
regardless, like,
Yeah.
me being wrong about where they are in
Napoli's
their
been,
league,
like-
the rest of it, I like, my point still stands. Like, I just don't think it's that deep. I think it's people like trying to get annoyed and like for
How can you be annoyed? What another manager like asked? Oh, clearly they asked him the questions now. He didn't like come out and just say it randomly. But I don't know why. I don't know if Chelsea fans are actually annoyed, but they are. It's kind of weird because he's got to back his team. He's got to back himself. Surely, like he doesn't want to like be. He's not being disrespectful. I don't think he's just like what he has to worry about. Like Andrew said as well. He has to worry about the next game because they are 3 points behind. First place. They have to keep winning and keep putting the pressure. And then like let's be real, like Chelsea hasn't been great this season, have they? Like, and we sacked our manager. We got Potter in now. It's a bit shaky. I don't know who does he have to really worry about. Chelsea's attack, Mason Mount, I guess Sterling for sure. Sterling's our best attacker.
If you wrote,
Why did you Mason Mount first?
but if you read it how it says, he's not dissing anyone at Chelsea or Chelsea.
Yeah,
he's just saying literally, Empoli game's the most important, the next one up. The games against Chelsea will take care of themselves in terms that we'll worry about them after that. Do you know what I mean? We'll focus on it after Empoli is the next one up. If we were the next game up, if they had their league game cancelled and the next game was us, he'd probably be talking about it's important to get an advantage. We already have an advantage over Chelsea to gain more advantage over Chelsea. He probably will after the Empoli game. He'll probably go, okay, now we need to step. Now we've finished Empoli. We're on to Chelsea. We need to put as much distance between us and Chelsea in the group in these next 2 games. So, because they know if we beat them the first game, we go level on points with them.
So, they're not necessarily doing so hot in the Champions League either. They drew Salzburg, I think. Yeah, the group's definitely not over.
Salzburg and they beat Zagreb, and they weren't impressive. We haven't been, by the way, but they weren't that impressive against Zagreb. They scored some good goals, but overall, it wasn't like a dominating 3-1 display.
Yeah, and back to what Ahmed was saying about how he may put the starting lineup out there. I think it'd be very foolish of Pioli, even despite our bad form. I think it'd be very foolish of Pioli to not put out a strong lineup against us, but
the problem,
like I said, go ahead, Ahmed.
No, the reason why I'm saying that he's probably gonna have to put out a weak lineup is because of like the people that he's missing already from squad, like Theo Hernandez and Mannion.
It's
are like
big loss.
Big players, and that's not including Tonali as well. They're very big players for his team. So that's a big thing that he has to consider, and also. Last season, I think Serie A, the point that AC Milan, I think he won it by a point. I think AC Milan last season. So that league is very, very close. So like losing points there is like almost it's very problematic. And over there, you're facing 4 to 5 teams. So that's something that you have to think about.
Another thing to think about too is that we are also going into that game with injuries ourselves. I don't know what Mendy's situation is at the moment, but I believe Mendy also picked up an injury. So there's a good chance Kepa is going to start that game. I know. I don't know if this is true.
He's going to be back. No, Mendy's going to be back apparently for Crystal Palace. That's why he left.
Mendy went off for international and then came back. So he didn't actually play.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Also, I don't know the extent of the injury. I heard Pulisic also picked up an injury, which so much for going so many
He
games
wasn't
without
gonna play,
injury.
man. Let's be honest.
Mm.
Yeah. Fair enough. He probably wasn't going to play anyways. And then Kante is up for debate whether or not he's going to even play.
He's not going to be
game
back
or
till
feature.
October something anyway. So
Yeah.
there's always 7 weeks.
I mean, we have our fair share of injuries too. Despite that, though, we just have an attacking problem, which I hope it does fix itself. I really do.
To be honest, we don't
especially with Potter.
need Pulisic. Like, if we play 3 attackers, Sterling and Aubameyang are definitely taking the places, and it's a fight between the rest, probably.
You know what? I'm gonna throw this question out there just to have a little bit of a fun little topic here. This topic of conversation seems to come up every freaking season, so I'll go ahead and bring it up again because this time around it seems like it is more possible than it was before, and now I'm seeing how bad our attack is. I'm coming around to the idea of it. But what do you guys think about this?
No. No.
He turned off the camera.
Wait, what happened?
Oh my days.
Eden
Hear me
Hazard,
out.
respectfully, his time is over. Finito.
Oh, you talking about Eden Hazard return? No
look,
wonder Andrew turned the
look.
camera off.
Look. Andrew rolled his
We
eyes
have to
so
get rid
hard
of
it came through the
Aspie, though.
camera. It came through the camera. I know he rolled his eyes so hard.
Yeah.
No, hear me out. I am hearing now the other end of this. Apparently ever since he's gotten that plate out of his foot out, that was causing him so much discomfort and even changing the way he had to run because of that injury he had. Apparently he's actually not been playing too bad. He's actually been getting some form going. He's doing a lot better over at Real Madrid, starting some games even. And considering how bad the state of affairs is at our attack, to do like a little bit of a Drogba-esque kind of role that we did under Mourinho to come back, I don't know. It is an idea that I'm more open-minded about.
Well said.
I got you.
I
There you
don't
go.
know why Chelsea fans want like Hazard back. Yeah, like Eden Hazard.
When
greatest.
Andrew turned off his camera, this is what was going on in the background.
I know why
Yeah,
they want him
actually.
back.
But you guys look at Aspie. Oh, he's too old. He's not got the legs no more. But Eden Hazard, we need Eden Hazard back because he hasn't got legs either. But we need him back. But get rid of Aspie though, right?
I know why people want
Yeah.
Hazard back, and I will say there is some slight differences in that, in terms of like Hazard still mentally is still fully with it. Like he's still got everything about him that made him good mentally. I just don't think physically he's there. The biggest thing for me, like I would acknowledge as well, Hazard is levels better than every other attacker we have right now, apart from maybe Sterling in his current state.
I don't think he's better than Aubameyang.
Oh, he's better than Aubameyang.
I don't think- I don't think he's
in
doing
his
that well.
current state, Sterling is better than him probably, but still.
He won't get goals or assists though.
Say again?
I don't think he'll help like with our like goals and assist issue we have at Chelsea.
Probably not, but
in
I
attack.
wouldn't necessarily want him for just like to help with the goals and assists or anything. I just think it'd help the attack. The biggest thing for me is like look forward. Like you don't need to look back for everything. Like look forward on the next guy who's gonna become a Hazard type player. Don't keep going back to like Hazard. Like that shouldn't be the answer. Is going back to Hazard. Like no, like it was good while it lasted. He was brilliant for us. He's now moved on. Look forward. Like this is like it's like looking back at your ex when you've just broken up with you've just broken up with your girl and you're looking back to like an ex that you had that was the best ex you've ever had. Like no fam, it was good. Like and yeah, it sucks, but no, like look forward. Look onto the next girl. Go and find that next 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 or whatever it is. Like go and find the next one.
We just spent 45 minutes talking about 2 players who need to leave because of their health issues. And you want to bring a guy back who is severely injury prone and when he was super fit, was not the best trainer at Chelsea to begin with.
Yes.
But because he one of the best players the club has ever produced, no problem. I don't want to remember him in a blue shirt sitting on the bench and only coming on 5 minutes every 5 games, or hearing how he's going to be out for another 3 weeks with an ankle issue or something like that. We got the best of Eden Hazard. Just enjoy that. You don't need to bring him. You don't need to bring him back. That's what Scott said. Move on. Get the DOF in. Find the net. Find who would, not the same player, but who would take that mantle off of Hazard as the next great player at this club. That's what you should be focusing on. You know what I
You need to
mean?
be looking for the Eden Hazard the second.
Sentiment's already cost
Eden
us
Hazard the
by
second.
signing Aspilicueta for 2 more years. That's what sentiment has cost us. Yeah?
Is he not?
It has
Is he
cost
not?
us.
Is Nasby's contract the next year?
No, they signed him
it's
to
2
a
Right,
years.
you gave him a
It
2
is.
plus
He
1.
might go next year, though. He might go next year.
Roman wanted to give him a 1 plus 1, but with the new
But
manager,
Tuchel and
they
Bowley
gave him
have
the
given
2
him
plus
2
1.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe next season
Yeah.
he'll go. We'll try sell for like 7 million, 9 million. I don't know.
Next season all depends on if Barca are still interested, because if they're not, I don't see him moving anywhere else. No.
He got a
Barca
bumper.
needs TVs right now.
He got 50k bumper. He got 50k pay.
Yeah, the wage boost was
In
kind of
just
weird.
2 years, he's on 180 grand right now.
I don't think it's right to give him a rise, but it's fine what he was on before. I thought.
I mean,
Hazard's-
you kind of have to give him a rise if he's going to stay at the club.
But Hazard, but back to Hazard. Hazard, yeah, always going to be one of the best players, the best player of this in this supporters generation, the best player they've ever seen at the Bridge, no problem. Up there with the greats,
doubt.
up there with the greats, up there, no doubt. But just it's like when, how can I say? It's like when that fighter goes on too long. That boxer goes on, and you go, like, look what Floyd Mayweather's doing at the moment.
Oh my god.
Basically, it's circus acts.
Gonna fight
He's
Deji.
ruining his legacy right now. I don't want that. I don't want that for Eden Hazard here.
Yeah.
Because people would go, oh, can't. 6 months in, oh, I can't believe we signed this guy back. He's never fit.
Yep.
Because as much as he's getting injured in a lesser physical league. There are some dirty players over, no doubt, but the intensity is not as high as it is here. And I don't want it. I don't want it because I love that player. I don't want it.
That's how I feel about it.
I agree with you.
It's never going to be as good as what it was.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the worst thing.
I
Never
agree
get
with you
back.
guys. If you guys will allow me to play devil's advocate, I agree with you guys. If you guys allow me to play devil's advocate,
No.
you could make the argument that Eden Hazard is used to the physicality of the Prem, so he knows what to expect, right? And that our attack has been absolutely so poor for so long that it's even in Eden Hazard on one leg is probably better than what we have outside of Raheem Sterling and Aubameyang.
Okay, now I'm going to use my Angel's power of attorney on your devil's advocate. I'm going to do this, right? Yes, he's used to it, but his body is worse than when he left. Okay? It's more fragile, yeah? And it won't hold up. Yeah? It won't hold up as what it used to. We're already seeing him in international football. The way he looks, he's not even the same at international football. And that's less, for me, intensity than league games.
Yeah.
So,
Hazard, yes.
well, yeah.
I know.
To be fair, this doesn't surprise me. He wants Ronaldo as well.
Yeah, exactly.
He
wants
seems to be wanting one.
All right, hold on. Can I back Ronaldo for a minute here?
Oh no.
Let me just throw an idea out here.
I'd rather bring Hazard back than get Ronaldo. I'm even more.
Yeah,
against
okay.
Ronaldo.
Yeah,
Really?
see, that I can accept. I would accept that proposition, but no.
Oh my days! Look,
I don't know.
let me just say this about Ronaldo. Let's just paint a hypothetical picture right here. Okay, let me just timestamp this
Blame
so I know
Lukaku,
when this happened. Look, wouldn't you say? Let's just say we did get Ronaldo over the break, right?
Jesus.
Wouldn't you say that as toxic as Ronaldo is, that the mentality that he has to take accountability and have others take accountability for their performances would have maybe been the kick in the ass that our players needed to not be like the Pulisic coming out and blaming everyone else for his mishaps that himself.
That's
You really don't think that he could have straightened these attackers out?
This is not the Ronaldo of old. This is Ronaldo looking at himself to keep his records going, to keep his goal scoring records going.
But you don't think he still holds himself to a high accord?
No, I'm sure himself, but he's only thinking about himself. He's not thinking about others. Yeah, he wants to be back in the Champions League so he can extend his record in the Champions League, hoping Messi or whoever or Haaland
Or
never
Benzema.
gets near it whatsoever. Yeah. It's all about him, and I don't want him in the dressing room. He's toxic. He's toxic. Look what he did to, and whatever you say, he is toxic, Alex. Look, whatever you say about Bruno, whatever you think about Bruno's GNA before Ronaldo came in was amazing. Yeah. Well, look at it since Ronaldo came in, how it's fallen.
Look how United are playing.
Look how United. He is.
Yeah, no.
He doesn't do anything. He doesn't press. He doesn't press. He doesn't hold on the ball well. He doesn't pass well either.
My biggest thing about Ronaldo is, like I mentioned earlier, like he doesn't help the team. Like he doesn't. Like I keep hearing this like, oh, he scored 18 goals. Like there's no context behind that. If you go and look at context, you'll see that 9 of those goals were when they were playing once a week. And then you go and look at who they actually scored against, because I keep hearing that about Mason Mount. And this isn't me defending Mount. This is me going like, if you're giving that energy for Mount and for Havertz and shit, go and look at who Ronaldo scored against. Bar a hat-trick against Spurs, it was all against terrible teams. It's like Newcastle when they had Steve Bruce in charge and they were like 17th. It's like Norwich. It was like Arsenal, but like at the start of the season when they weren't good. Like he doesn't, as E said, they look better without him. He doesn't improve them as a team.
Ask United fans since that Liverpool game, the run of form and the way they've been playing in the league has been very good, and that's without Ronaldo. When he's played in the Europa League games, he's been utter shit. The man did a sue on a penalty against a Moldovan team. So you're telling me it's not all about him? Of course it is. The ego of this, we all know he's got an ego, but to actually think, of course. Let's do a sue after I scored a penalty after not playing well against a Moldovan team in the Europa League game. Yeah?
I'm sorry, man.
I don't even care about an ego. Like you can have ego if you're actually good. Like he ain't even good anymore.
Ask Man United fans. That's
a shameless.
Also, as well, people are forgetting this. We're not putting him into a team that's like creating bags of chances that will put chances on a plate for him, where he doesn't have to press, where he doesn't have to link up play. This is not like, we're not like a City or something, or even a Liverpool to an extent. Like he's not getting clear chances in this team, which means he's then got to go looking for chances, which he doesn't do. And the only time he does is when he's got a point to prove, as Andrew mentioned. Like when he doesn't have a point to prove, he doesn't go looking for chances. He doesn't go looking for these like.
Let's be honest, guys. If you thought Lukaku was toxic, if you thought Lukaku was toxic, what about Ronaldo? That's all I'm gonna say. If you thought Lukaku,
I think Ronaldo for Chelsea would provide so much more than what Lukaku did. I really do. I think Lukaku was.
I think you are blinded by Ronaldo of old. If you've actually watched him, he doesn't do half of what you think he does.
I know this season so far he's been absolutely poor.
And last season, he's not. Don't let the 18 goals fool you. His overall gameplay is crap.
Oh, actually, that's another thing. Is if anyone had the criticism of Tammy and said Tammy wasn't good enough, number one, Ronaldo only got like the biggest criticism about Tammy was that he got was it 15 goals in the league or 15 goals overall?
He got 15 in the league.
Of those 15,
Yeah.
I'm correct because I think this has come out. Didn't he score like 10 in like 3 months or 2
He scored
months? And then
seven. He scored
like 5.
seven. He scored 7 in 3 games, and he scored 8 in 8 months.
Yeah.
Ronaldo did that. He scored 9 in like 3 months, and then the rest, and he scored 9 across the rest of the season.
Yeah.
The
And he
goals
couldn't-
that everyone goes 18 goals. They don't look at the fact of from I think up until when they played Atletico Madrid or Spurs.
Oh my God.
I think they played Spurs either just before or just after the second leg in Atletico Madrid, and he got a hat trick against Spurs, which was his 10th, 11th, and 12th goal. Like until that was 9 goals from the start of the season till then. It doesn't improve us.
And part of the thing with Tammy Abraham as well, yeah. Abraham couldn't even use his body. He couldn't head the ball. Like a lot of his goals were like ground from the ground. Like he was
Ronaldo can head
shooting
the
it
ball.
normally.
But I think
but
my
the thing
biggest
is,
argument
Ronaldo-
with Ronaldo is that, like, look, I am so sick and tired of these players throwing the manager under the bus, not taking accountability for how shit they've been. And if just imagine if Mason Mount did one of those through ball passes that was overshot to Ronaldo, you don't think Ronaldo turns around and goes like, what the fuck was that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that accountability that I kind of think the players need. Maybe it shouldn't be Ronaldo, but it is a personality I feel like we lack in this team.
People miss one big thing about Ronaldo. He's a temporary solution.
Yeah,
He
for
doesn't meant to stay here for 5 years, Scott. He's not gonna ruin your progress. He's not gonna ruin the what's the name of it that you like to use, the strategic points to get us to Man City, to Liverpool, like you're saying, like all those things. He will not break them. It's the temporary fix that Chelsea can use.
Why?
With
Number one,
Hazard,
why
why?
do we want
Why?
another temporary fix? Because we just got one.
Well, you could say we
Yeah, I was
need a
gonna say
temporary fix
Aubameyang.
because right now the market's terrible.
No,
It's not terrible. right?
it's
You
not
don't
even
find
about
it.
that. Okay. What about so you still want us to play with Auba, Sterling, and who beside them?
A creator.
Okay, and which one do we have?
I mean, at the moment, it's meant to be Mount or Havertz or like, fuck knows, one of those two, and they ain't good enough. So
It's just
Imagine
shit
saying,
right now.
imagine complaining about Ronaldo saying "swoo" in the country of Moldova because he doesn't want him. That's your thing.
because of
That's
that was
your
Andrew's
thing,
reason.
Andrew.
My reason
No,
is he doesn't
not
agree with
Scott.
us.
That's your
That
thing.
was
That's
Andrew.
your thing.
I don't. I think you are. I think you are a symptom of people who still think Ronaldo can do what he does before, and you're just in love with the
No.
name. Yes,
No,
I do
are
believe
you
that.
freaking idiot?
No,
No,
I think
I'm
you're,
not.
I think you're the idiot for wanting him. He
I
doesn't
want chances. I want chances to be put in the box from one time, not 2 times, not 3 times, not 5 times. We got rid of Timo Werner. We got us a Sterling. I'm glad that he's there, but he ain't one-time finisher either.
I don't
Auba,
think-
nobody
Aubameyang has
knows.
got decent. Aubameyang has a decent.
Auba
finish.
got the decent, but he's not kicking in, so I cannot judge. So I'm not talking about Auba the way the situation, because I don't know how he's gonna work. I 100% know how Ronaldo will put those shots back, and if he gets those chances, he gets them in.
I
And
do
you
give
keep-
you like
no.
chances.
You
I don't quite know about that because there was multiple games last season where he didn't. Like I can think of one straight off the bat, like the Middlesbrough game.
Great. Out of 48 games, great. 1 chance missed.
There's more than one, but like you guys, again, like Andrew mentioned it, you go and speak to United fans, like the watched games,
Exactly.
the Ronaldo
I'm
games
not
on
gonna
the
speak
regular.
to Scott.
They,
You're
like they
saying to
don't
speak
rate
to
him, they don't
United
want
fans.
him. They're happy for him to leave. That sets everything you need to know.
Okay.
Their manager doesn't even rate him. Their manager
Okay.
would prefer to play a left winger at striker rather than Ronaldo.
I understand with you, and I'm not saying no. But all the 5 friends that you have from United that you speak of, they don't want it because it's working without Ronaldo. But that doesn't mean that Ronaldo cannot work on another team. Where did we learn this situation that one person, like for example, like Lukaku, he works great at Inter. Does that mean that he's gonna work great at Chelsea? No. He went back to Inter. Does that mean that he's gonna work great at Inter? There's a situation where we can say that it doesn't work good in what's the name? And Man United. But that's your point. It's not proven that he's not gonna work good at Chelsea, because we do have more possession than United. We control the games. At least we're saying that we control the games, but at least. And that's what the actual fat people like. When you control the game, you don't have to fucking run as much. Because on the counter, do you see the pressing that United does? But they don't have possession. We're looking for the problems. What? You laughing, Andrew? Isn't it true?
No, I think I misheard you. I think you said that's what the fat people like.
Yeah, not wrong.
Is he like in peak condition, like body condition last time I checked?
Sorry, I'm so childish. I'm sorry.
It's true. If you look at Lukaku, he got so free, he doesn't even want to run, man. It's like literally you were saying that Haaland wasn't gonna work at Chelsea because he's not his same type of striker as Lukaku, but he can do something different. He has ambitions. The things that you're saying that Ronaldo doesn't actually proves me more that I want him. I want the egoistic prick at Chelsea. That's number one. That's what you're saying you don't want at Chelsea, Andrew. I do. You have to have the egoistic piece of shit up front to score the goals. I want to do Sue in Moldova. I don't care.
I want someone that's going to be a prick to the other team, not his own teammate.
But that's the thing, though, Scott. Don't you think that little
I
bit
want
of
him to be a prick to Mount and Kai Havertz.
Yeah,
I want
that's the
him
thing.
to be a prick to them.
But Scott,
if that's what people want, fine. There's like so many other players you can go and get it and be a prick.
I know,
but
and I
Scott,
agree with
don't you think that little bit
You
of
don't need to sign a
is why-
37-year-old who's going to be on like 400 grand a week as a
Listen, Scott,
for
look,
6
I
months.
agree.
For 6
I
months
agree.
on loan at the end of the season.
Yeah, there you go. It's just 6 months. All right, that's fine. It's a temporary, little band-aid for the current issue that we have, right? And right now, as far as I can see, Alba isn't playing that different of a role that what Ronaldo would play in that position either. But what I'm saying, Scott, is, don't you think having a personality that butts heads with people who don't have this mentality to take accountability would be what we need for that, so that we don't have players like Pulisic writing books at 24? If fucking Pulisic went up to Cristiano and be like, "Hey, I'm thinking about writing this book. Do you have any pointers?" Ronaldo would just be like, "Are you fucking kidding me, bro? Yo, drink water and run. Like, why are you fucking writing a book right now?" That's just what I mean. Like, it's just having that mentality, that personality, as shitty as it is. It's just, I think it's needed. I think people need to slap
Can you
across the
imagine
face.
Diego Costa playing with Pulisic?
Oh,
That
He
man would
probably
take a
headbutted.
bite out of the book right in front of
Really
him. Just like,
Pulisic, Kai Havertz, or
training.
Jorginho when he's trying to make those run and the passes from the deep that he used to from Fabregas. If those passes not coming, he'll running back and start to get in the face.
Saying that, I would have actually gone for Costa.
Yeah, man, I would have gone because
Yeah.
you know what? That's not a bad shout. That is actually not a bad shout.
He's only 33.
Yeah.
He's not
Wow.
even different to Aubameyang's age, yeah.
None of this coming. None of if he starts, none of this coming out to the right or the left. He's fucking staying in the middle as well. Fucking want him there. Stay in the
And he
fucking
said,
middle.
I ain't going backward. You motherfuckers runs to me."
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
my
staying
days.
here. See here.
Exactly.
The only way
You
I come
come,
back in.
I'm not
The only,
going.
way, the only way I'm coming back into the half is when we kick off. It's the only time I'm back here. Okay? I'm not running up. I'm not running up and down the wing. I'm not crossing it in for you. You are crossing it in for me.
You know what? I can imagine Costa trying to speak to his players, actually.
Oh.
By the
my
way, if that
goodness.
Wolves Spurs game next year is not on TV, I'm going to sue Sky and BT. Okay?
Oh, yeah, I really want to
That's
watch
it,
Costa
so-
now.
Then,
I forgot Kante is
Yeah.
at the Premier League. Oh my
Yeah.
word.
Kante's
Well,
what?
if Conte's still there, he might have gone to
If
Juventus.
if Kante is still there, that's number one. Number two, guess who they have as a defender that Diego Costa will like to wind up?
Wait, which one?
What's the number
God.
one that likes to get in trouble all the time? That
The
what's his
Argentinian.
name?
He's talking about the Argentinian. I forgot his name.
Romero.
Romero.
No,
No.
you're talking about,
That'd be interesting.
who are you
Talking
talking
about Dyer?
From
Well,
Colombia. I
Royal.
think.
Oh, what, Sanchez?
Oh,
Sanchez.
Sanchez.
Oh, that kid Sanchez is always on the yellow cards, and if person like Costa's in front of him,
Romero's one you would definitely pick a fight with. Romero's a dirty bastard as well.
yeah,
No, Romero's the cunt.
But-
Yeah, Romero's the cunt.
Sanchez
I
is
think-
the one that actually. I can't stand the prick. I don't think the guy's a good defender, but he's
He doesn't
always
really play
does-
though.
Huh?
He doesn't play as
Yeah,
much.
there's a
lately.
reason he doesn't play, Chris.
Yeah.
I think his career ended when Gundogan put him in a spliff to
Oh
seasons
yeah,
ago last season.
I remember
Don't
that.
ever
He was
forget him.
face flat to the floor.
made him face
Oh,
plant.
yeah.
It was hilarious.
He
Yeah,
was like that.
you could never
He tried
forget
to
that. It made him
finger it,
plank.
I haven't seen him much after that.
Yeah, I think that's why.
Forgot about that.
I have
But-
not forgot about that.
Maybe we should have
I-
gone for Gareth Bale.
Yeah, let's get Gareth Bale, man. He's a great
No,
player.
there's no,
No.
Score,
well,
he can score free kicks. Like you know,
there
this
any
man can score free kicks.
there
None
any
of our
decent
players can
golf
score free
courses
kicks.
in Surrey? In Coventry, any decent golf courses?
Sorry. I just heard Gareth Bale's name being mentioned. Why?
No, Scott. I'm just trolling.
I didn't mention it, but
I'm not going that low, Scott.
He's only 30, like 30.
My guy
Oh,
can't
real
start for
Chris is
LAFC.
defending him.
He can start for
He
Galaxy.
Dude,
cannot
he's just
start
staying
for
fit.
LAFC.
He's staying fit to play in the
Yeah.
World Cup, then he's done. That's what
He's,
that
Yeah,
is.
he's
playing
retiring
at
after the World Cup.
Yeah,
He's
he's
literally doing match fitness. He's doing match fitness type, man.
Yeah.
It's a match
Like he did with
fitness.
Spurs.
He almost scored today. He almost scored today again. Hit the
Actually,
crossbar.
do you know what? His
Did
stint
he
at
do
Spurs-
Swee? And
His stint
what's
at
the...
Spurs just showed how poor this league is at times. Like, he played like 15, 20 league games or even less, and he got nearly 20. He got like 15 league goals or something in about
Oh my
three
days.
months after not doing anything at all.
Who?
Gareth Bale. Do you remember when he was
Bale.
at Spurs? On
Yeah,
the-
Oh, before he went
Yeah.
to Vegas to.
No, when he came
I'll
back.
call it
No,
Vegas.
you know when he came back for that season,
Vegas.
and he hardly played. He hardly played until like the
He
January,
scored
February.
15 goals that
I
season.
think he scored like 15 league goals in like
He saved
that second
Chelsea
half
for
of
that
the
ball as
season.
well.
Yeah,
He did save Chelsea, and yeah, that was
Yeah.
a little embarrassing.
It was
but
weird.
It did.
I
happen.
didn't know
Weird,
that he
man.
scored 4 goals. 15
15.
goals.
Yeah, I'll look it up. It was one of
Yeah.
those
He scored a
Yeah.
bunch. Like he did pretty well.
I don't know
He
if
won
that shows how bad the league is. He scored.
No.
He knows
This is
how
how
to
good he
If
score.
it was in the FA Cup or like a League Cup
Yeah,
early
yeah.
matches,
He does know how to
So
score.
in
He's
that
too much better.
in that season for Spurs, he scored 15 goals, 11 in the league, which
Yeah, but
11 in the
not too
league in
bad.
20 matches is still
That was
not
all
that
in the
bad.
second half, I think, as well. That was all in the second half.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was all in the
Yeah.
second half because they got him in January. That's
look
not.
at
That's
what
actually not
happens when you
bad.
have a
And he
proper
barely
finisher.
played. Yeah.
11 league goals in 20 games. 11 league goals.
I'm telling
in
you
20
guys.
games.
I'm
I
telling
think,
you guys.
I think, what's his name? Hazard and
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo are coming in January.
I don't know about both, but
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
Sue.
I wouldn't be
Yeah, and then
opposed
also
to
Fabregas
Ronaldo
is
in
gonna
January.
rejoin as well. Yeah.
No, Fabregas.
Yeah, let's bring back
I would love
Fabregas too.
Fabregas, but
Oh my
God,
God.
damn, the guy is just
Little
The guy
bit of money to
when he
Dennis
walks, his bones are crackling. You know.
Hazard. That's Hazard.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
Hazard has the titaniums.
yeah.
We
don't
can't get
anymore.
through airports then. Can't get through the track at airport.
He got him taken off, not anymore.
And
Yeah,
don't
he
let
took
him
them
near
off,
any
yeah.
giant magnets either. He'll get stuck to them, stuff like that. There we go.
By the way, somebody said that he doesn't perform at Belgium anymore. By the way,
No, I said sometimes he looks a bit. He doesn't. He's not. He's never looked the same in his style.
it's
I
a
never
recovery
looked at
after
the
the
sides. I saw
Tuchel
it- I
screws
saw what he
off
said
at the
before.
medal. It's
Yeah.
gonna take recovery, but I think it's actually feel pain free. My question to the person that asked that: have you noticed how badly the Belgium start to play lately? whole
yeah,
Belgium
Paying attention to
team.
Belgium at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
They don't care
it's
about the
because
Hazard.
Yeah,
it's because
they're
their
very bad,
golden
yeah.
generation, quote unquote, is done.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah,
done.
that's what I was trying to say. Like,
They've lost their
look,
legs. They've lost
Like
their legs, man.
they've still got a decent team, but it's not.
I think it's the
Um,
manager.
It's a little bit of both,
Yeah.
but like their
Yeah.
team just ain't good anymore. Look at their centre backs. Like they had 3 quality centre backs, and now it's like Boyata. Like they've still got like Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Vermaelen, but they're all ancient. Then you got like Boyata. That's about it, I think.
Well, for the
Joke's not too
international, it's not that bad actually. It's not that quick. It's not that physical actually.
No,
So
but they
can
just don't
do
look.
it international.
They just don't
But-
look the same players
Yeah,
anymore.
they don't
Like,
look the same players, and I think
They're
it's
Just
not
older,
due to the
aren't they? They're
manager.
just old.
Mhm.
They're just
No,
old.
no. That's what I'm saying. Like, look, those teams that win in the World Cups and they usually older teams. That's
Right.
why you don't see consistency in the World Cup generations that wins constantly. It's usually one season.
Look
thing.
at Croatia.
Same.
18. Yeah,
Ec-
they were pretty old, weren't they? Old. Sorry.
That's what I'm. Italy,
Experienced. Yeah.
Italy,
Yeah.
Italy,
Yeah.
Germany. They
Yeah.
all retired right after the World Cup win. It's
Mhm.
because you get mature, you know what you're doing, and you usually use it. And Belgium is, for some reason, it's always the older teams, like the teams that would the
Portugal.
Portugal, exactly.
Yeah, even
I
Wales.
speak the facts. Them, I just bring the minerals to this
Why are
place.
you
Yeah.
bringing
But-
Wales into this, Chris?
Like
But-
their time's coming to an end. Like
Your whole team is old based on one player, not the.
no,
rest
it's not
of
just
the
based on one player. Don't even say that. Like we've got the Welsh Shav, we've got
Your whole
Ramsey.
team is based on an old player. What are you talking about? That's what it is.
You have
That was our
so
golden
many
generation when we got to the Euros for the first time.
You
had
have
a golden
the generational
That was our
player.
golden generation, Andrew.
really.
You have
Listen,
a
Chris.
bronze. You have a bronze generation, not a gold generation.
Come on, man.
We,
That
we,
By the
Bale
way,
penalty is still in
what
the
I-
atmosphere. It's waiting to come back.
Hey,
Okay?
respect
I
that
was-
penalty.
What I was trying to say and bring this thing to the conversation about the manager. Why is always England's problem when they have a decent squad of players? They always have the wrong manager at that time period.
We
It's-
hide
When
it.
It's
when
Manchester.
Lampard, when Rio,
Yeah.
when that team, Sven,
It's 'cause
that
we
was-
we
that-
just like
that-
English managers.
no, Sven wasn't. Is not English.
No, like we just keep hiring English managers like lately. Like I
No,
can't have
it's not true because you keep hiring before that all the other managers like
They tried to
Italian
change
manager,
tactics after.
Sven.
yeah.
The problem is our like who we hire is just terrible. Like it's just terrible.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like England has a decent squad
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that could actually
brilliant.
win
Like,
the World Cup.
like what's
Yeah.
mad is
Manager.
like, it's got some of the best attacking talent we've seen in years. Like,
And the midfield not bad actually if you put it
like,
right
you've got
way.
like Kane, you've got Sterling, you've got like Madison, who like I don't understand why he's not.
Saka
picked.
isn't too bad.
You've got
Sancho,
Rashford,
Rashford.
good. You've got like
Generally,
Foden,
Madison
who's a good
is
player.
better than Mount. I would just say that right now, and I don't know how Mount is.
Who's
starting,
that?
bro. I
Oh,
would just say-
Madison's the most creative midfielder that we have.
Say
Yeah,
that,
I
say
don't
that
know why he's
louder,
not
Ahmed.
starting.
Just a little louder, Ahmed.
Yeah,
Just-
I would say that loud. Madison's better than Mount. I've always said this.
Yeah, Madison's levels above
As
Mount.
as a player, yeah.
There's no doubt, no doubt,
No
man.
doubt.
You're gonna summon Johnny Minerals to the
Just
stream.
alerting the authorities.
No, what I'm saying is like it's
Yeah, like-
always England have a wrong manager at the time that you have a really good prospects, and you gotta kill him because I think if he really thinks that he would have, I would have quit. I would have quit right now, and say, you know what, an interest of that English talent that we have, I think England can do a better with a better manager.
Oh, 100%,
Not a
like,
pragmatic,
Probably right.
because you don't have a pragmatic team. You have a really good offensive thinking team, and you hire the most pragmatic manager.
I heard
That's the
Tuchel's
problem.
available.
It is absurd considering if you want to play defensively, your biggest asset defensively is Harry Maguire. that's who you're
Exactly.
relying on. to
The
help
thing
you
is
be
though, the thing is though,
defensive.
we
Bro,
could play
he put on
defensively.
Luke Shaw. He put on Luke Shaw, guys. Like I
No, but the thing is, like,
I
we
lost
could
it,
play
though, when I saw that
defensively and it would be fine. Like, we could play defensive counter-attacking football and it would be fine. But he doesn't set us up to play defensive
Mhm.
counter-attack football either. Like, if you want to be defensive and play counter-attacking, you should be putting like Reece, and you want to play 5 back, put Reece James at right centre back and put Trent at right wing back. That gives you an outlet straight away on that side. Then you should be playing like as a midfield 2. You should be playing like Rice and probably Phillips. Then should be the 2, which is fine. But then you shouldn't be playing a front 3 where none of them are getting on the ball or none of them are going to look to get in behind, because that doesn't work.
What's that Man City's defender that plays for English defender? Stones. Did Stones ever played on the left side as a center back?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I would assume he's always...
Because you just got really good the thing about like you can set up back 3 the way you play. Technically, you played back 3 right in England right now, or back 4?
Back 3.
Back 3. So if you play back 3 and you put James, Trent does not have to be that conscious about that get caught in possession all the time, because James can, and they can overlap each other.
Yep.
Trent can stay well out of.
And the thing is, Trent can both of them can
push up,
underlap or like inverted,
overlap or underlap,
because both of them are suited. Like Trent started as a midfielder. James has played there. They're both suited to being in the midfield, so they can both do that. But yeah, it's like we're set up defensively to play in a back 5, but then we're looking to like play and get the ball into feet instead of trying to get it over the top or down in the channels. Like the way we set up and the way we want to play don't link, and it's maddening and it's irritating. And I want him sacked straight away, as soon as possible. As soon as the World
Cup. It might happen after the World Cup.
I see, and that's the problem. Kane is gonna be how old after that?
He's gonna be pretty old.
To be honest,
so who's gonna be your next? Who's gonna be your next striker?
Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
We've got players that can step up and replace Kane.
You don't have players to step up.
No, we have players that can step up and replace Kane in terms of, like I mentioned earlier with what a point I made. They're not going to replace Kane in terms of be as good, but they can do a serviceable job. But he doesn't fucking play them or pick them.
The thing is that you send
Tony could do the job,
Scott.
But he doesn't play him.
Do the job. I don't think so. You have to change the complete structure to play those players.
I don't think you do that. Like, I think Tony can do the same job that Kane does, but he won't play because it's South.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Like Abraham
having a good season.
Wilson couldn't. Like, I agree, most strikers couldn't do the stuff he does in terms of dropping deep. Tony could, but he won't play him.
You won't play Tony. You won't play.
Well, of course you're not gonna play Tony. You got a player like Harry Kane. You're always gonna choose.
No, as in.
But even for England, he looks terrible.
If Kane was to be dropped,
Kane dropped quality last couple of years.
If he was to be rotated, or if he was to retire, I'm saying, who do you put next? The next up would be Tammy Abraham, or Rashford as a 9 would be the next up, and neither of those are inspiring options.
Yeah,
I forgot about Ivan Toney, but I forgot about
Tammy for England. To be honest, I'm gonna give you a sad violin for that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not in the UK in that situation.
I don't think his quality, like World Cup winnings quality, Tony Abraham. But no, but you have one shot at what's his name, at Harry Kane at this World Cup, and I think England is gonna blow it. I think England is gonna blow it. You're not winning it. You're not getting to semi-final. I bet you you're not getting to semi-final.
I'd argue we're not even in the top 10. Like, in terms of as a total package, I'd argue we're not even in the top 10.
Because I know Euros is like it's coming home, but it's different. It's a different when it's the World Cup, and I don't think so.
Well, we're gonna see. It's gonna be interesting for sure. I am actually kind of looking forward to it, and as an American, we'll see how we stand up to England. We'll see, but I don't have
who's watching
high hopes.
American playing. Oh, we're in a group.
In the same group.
That's the only way I'll watch Americans playing in the World Cup.
Oh, we'll see what kind of a mess the U.S. find themselves in. But that aside, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to call it a wrap right here. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. Thank you, everyone who joined the channel. Thank you, Alex, for coming on. Ahmed, Scott, Real Chris, Winter Surfer, and everyone who is here. Make sure you have smashed that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think about everything we talked about today. And check out the links in the description. and we'll catch you guys again maybe Wednesday, maybe Saturday. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But until then, peace out.